Hey guys, Pete Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. Welcome to session 9 of our 10-part series, Your 12 Months of Summer. So this whole program, for those of you who have been with us for the entire ride, has been designed to help take some of that valley out of your flow of work and let's stay in the black 12 months out of the year instead of just burning through all that money you made in the summer just trying to survive the winter. And you can do that by following a lot of these processes. We brought in a host of guest speakers, and we've got a special one for you tonight. Now, we brought in a specialist on selling technician. We brought in a specialist on the sales process for your Comfort Advisor. We brought in social media specialists. We brought in marketing specialists on maintenance agreements, and generous like myself that puts all these together. And now we have a special guest in Kelley McKay, and he is a contractor just like you are. Now, he's been through a lot of this top-end training program, a lot of the top-end training programs that are out there, and he knows what works and he knows what's fluff. And so he's from HVAC Service Ready, also the HVAC Millionaire over on YouTube. A lot of you guys follow him over there. So, hey, Kelley, welcome. We appreciate you coming.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to bring some value here, help my fellow contractors out. So.
Yeah, well, we've spoken enough. I know you have plenty of value to share. So if you would just take over. We've got about an hour. Now, hey, guys, if we go over and you guys have to drop out, don't worry. We're going to record, but I don't want him to stop. We don't want to miss anything, okay? So we may run a little over, okay? I know he's got a lot to cover, but take over, Kelley, please.
Let me get to the top of the screen here. Okay, can y'all see that?
That is perfect. Thank you.
12 months of summer. All right. So first I want to thank Pete for having me on. It's an honor. I was shocked when he asked me, but extremely thrilled and happy and excited to hopefully bring some value to you guys. I've been a contractor since I got in the business in 1996, got married, and in 2008, I went to work for my father-in-law. In 2008, started my own business, and 11 years later, it's been a really long, sometimes at times extremely fun, exciting journey, sometimes extremely frustrating and difficult. So I've learned. I'd like to say that I've learned all the wrong things to do, but I'm still trying to figure things out, just like everybody here. But first, I just want to acknowledge everybody on here, which is. We don't have too many people joining us, but I hope we catch a bunch of people on the replay as well. But just want to thank you guys for being on here, because if there's one thing that I know and have learned is that you can never stop learning. You'll never know it all. So keep going, keep pushing, keep learning, learn from everybody. But you're here, and I just want to acknowledge that you're taking the time to invest in yourself and learn something. So some topics we're going to cover tonight is just optimization, making the most from what you got. We'll talk about the most underestimated position in a home service business. KPIs, key performance indicators. I'm going to touch on those here and there throughout the presentation. The must-haves for your business, which is processes. I will touch on some of those, give you some ideas, and then measuring and managing that, and protecting the number one asset in your company. So, optimization, I like to look at the definition of words. It just helps you have a better understanding of what we're talking about here, which is optimization, the action of making the best or most effective use of a situation or resource. So, are you currently optimizing the opportunities that you already have? Because we're going to talk about how to make the phone ring a little bit more and to get more business, but I don't want that phone to start ringing. I don't want you to shell out a bunch of money to pay for marketing, and you're missing some, if you're not converting those calls, and then if you're not running processes on your service calls, well, then it's not going to do you any good. Like, you will waste money. And I've been there, done that, wasted thousands, like tens and tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands actually. So the question is, are you currently optimizing the opportunities you have? So first contact, who makes the first contact with your customer most of the time? It's usually your CSR, your call taker, your client specialist, whatever you want to call them. They're the first point of contact. So do you have a process for that? You know, um, I actually found, I joined an organization. I found a, a company that records your phone calls. So every time somebody calls my office, my phone is imported to them, and it gets recorded. And that allows us to go back and listen to those phone calls and find out exactly what's happening on the phones. Because we really didn't know what was happening. If you're not answering the phones yourself all day, every day. So here's what I found is that people would ask, well, how much does it cost for you guys to come out? And we would say, well, it's $89 for us to come out and take a look at it. Or how much do you charge per pound of refrigerant? We'd say, well, we charge $120 per pound of refrigerant. Would you like to book a call so we can come out and take a look at it? Or, and oftentimes we would get, let me talk to my husband, I'll call you back, or let me talk to my wife and I'll call you back. It's because we weren't handling those phone calls right. And what about after hours? For probably 6 years, the on-call guy we forwarded the phone to the on-call guy, and he was paid to go run calls. He was paid extra to just take the phone, even if it didn't ring. But when we started listening to calls, here's what we heard. We started hearing, well, I'm going to have to charge you overtime rates if you want me to come out tonight. Or would you like to wait till tomorrow to save money? And so I had no idea just how much we were losing in the way of customers because the phones weren't being handled right after hours. So there's only a couple of things usually stopping somebody from booking the call with you. And normally, it's just like sales. Like when we're doing equipment sales, we're always trying to overcome the objection before the objection actually comes up. And so that's what we need to start thinking about and looking into when it comes to our phones. The top two things, just like the top objections with equipment sales are, I want to think about it. I need to talk to my spouse. The price is too high. The common objections we always hear. A couple of common objections we hear on the phone is the diagnostic fee, or it's time. And time's not always an issue, only when we're extremely busy. But we can't get out there fast enough, and it makes that call difficult to book because maybe they're just looking on the internet trying to find the first company they can to come out. So we realized that we had a problem in this. So I hired a company called Power Selling Pros. They don't pay me. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I only joined for about 3 months. Strategies to answer the phone properly, so you can actually overcome some of the ejections that you're going to get and book the call. So I'm just going to share a couple of the strategies they had, which was, one was tell me more. So when somebody calls in and says, how much do you charge for Freon? My unit's low on refrigerant. Well, tell me more. What do you got going on? That right there gets the customer to open up, and maybe we can start a conversation now instead of just me blurping out, $89 for us to come out. And then potentially lose that call. So these little strategies just help, if I can build a little rapport with that customer, show them that I care, I'm going to have a better chance of booking the call. What about waiving the diagnostics? So if your average invoice, if it's, $600, $400, $2,500, whatever your average service call invoice is, if you knew that was your average, would you waive $89 to go ahead and book the call to get somebody out there to run that call and make that money? Absolutely. Every time, all day, every day. So don't let the diagnostic be a barrier to booking that call. So what you could do, and one of the things that I learned through Power Selling Pros is that we have a coupon online, like a lot of people do. If you've got a website and you got a coupon, we would say, okay, Mrs. Smith, well, I tell you what, if I say the diagnostic's 89, oh, well, I called somebody else and it was only 50. I think I'm going to have to try them. Well, I tell you what, Mrs. Smith, if we have a coupon online, and I'm not even going to make you go, look it up and print it and give it to the technician. I'm just going to put a note right here on my dispatch for our technician. And if you allow me to go ahead and book the call today, could I go ahead and take that money off so we could come out and take care of your problem? Most of the time, if we just talk through it, we can go ahead and get that call booked. They also have something called the urgency list. And with Power Selling Pros, you will get, for a subscription, you will absolutely get some scripts to go off of. So you can just get in there, grab the information, and get out if you want. But they have a number of videos to watch to train you even better. But the urgency list, and with the urgency list, they're just talking about, well, Mrs. Smith, I don't have any openings today, but every once in a while we get a cancellation or somebody who reschedules. Could I put you on the urgent? If I book you today, could I put you on the urgency list? And the first time we have one of those, you're going to be the first on that list. You know, it's just one way to, you're not going to capture them all. Some people are going to say, oh, you can't get out today. Well, I'm going to call someone else. Of course, you're going to have those, but some of them you won't, and you will be able to capture a few more just by having that conversation. There's many more strategies on their website, so if you're interested, check them out. Here's just a few. When I started my business, my name's Kelley McKay. I didn't really introduce myself. I guess Pete introduced me a little bit, but my business was McKay Heating and Cooling, and we would just answer the phone, McKay Heating and Cooling, and that was how we answered the phone. We didn't actually have a greeting, and I know Pete's hit on this in some of the other trainings, but you know, now it sounds more like, and forgive me because I don't answer the phones, but it would be more like, hi, thank you for calling Service HQ. This is Kelley. How can I help you today? You know, that's more of a formal greeting. Then I'm going to show empathy. Oh, I'm so sorry you're having that problem. Well, I tell you what, let me get your name and number just in case we get disconnected. That's the first thing we need to get, is the name and number right away. Because when I went through and actually started listening to my calls, there were times where we were giving prices over the phone, and we had like a 5-minute conversation and we never collected their name and number. And I'm like, what is going on, you know? So be sure that's got to be on the list. Always get the name and number. Then I'm going to use their name. You know, anyone's name, it's the sweetest sound to their ears. So, oh, your name is Mary. May I call you Mary? And I'm going to make sure to call her Mary throughout the conversation. Then I'm going to give her assurance. Mary, I assure you, we're going to get you taken care of just as quickly as possible. I know you're miserable, and I know that it's so hot outside, so we need to get you handled. Of course, address, best phone number, email. Other questions: what's it doing? How old is your system? Has it given you any trouble in the past? Marketing. I can assign specific phone numbers to direct mail pieces or whatever type marketing I'm doing. I can have a new phone number like that to put on a new, and it costs like $5 a month. The company I use is called CallCap. I learned through some training I took in New Jersey, but they're actually in my backyard in Wichita, Kansas. So I just went to their business and went and met with them and got set up with them. But I always ask, and we now have a process. So when we answer the phone, how did you hear about us? It seems so simple. It's something people have been telling me to do for years, and I just wouldn't do it for whatever reason. So start doing that if you aren't currently doing it. Another thing that sometimes gets thrown to the wayside is pay. Check, cash, or credit card. How are you be paying for that? Then ask if they're an agreement holder or a club membership, whatever. And the reason we're asking this is not only to plant the seed for the technician when he gets out there to have that conversation about, and for him to provide the value, express the value of what that means to the customer. But if they are an agreement holder, it gives you an opportunity to show the value of them owning the agreement. Like, oh, you are an agreement holder. Yeah, I see right here. Wow, you've been in here for a long time. So you're going to the front of the line. We're going to get great care of you. Just that one little statement, you're going to the front of the line, that gives me an opportunity to show the value and express the value of them owning the agreement. Because too many times, people that will buy an agreement from us, but we don't show the value throughout the lifespan. And when it comes to renew, it's hard to renew. They didn't see the value. So anytime you get an opportunity, be sure to express it and show it to them. And then, of course, thank you and confirmation. Okay, we'll see you next Tuesday at between 12 and 2. And thank you so much for giving us an opportunity. So once you've booked the call, who gets the call? During any slower season, who gets the call once it's booked? Because oftentimes when we're dispatching, or whoever's dispatching and who's ever taken all these calls, even when we're busy, we're just looking like, how can we get to all these customers and wipe the board clean every day? Like, how can we make sure that everybody gets checked off the list, that we took care of everybody? Well, we shouldn't approach it that way, but when it's slower, we definitely don't want to approach it that way. So who on the team has the best average ticket? That's a KPI that we track regularly. Constantly, ongoing. Who's a team player? Who follows the process? Who shows up to win every day? Who takes ownership in their work? Closing ratio. That's another KPI to track. If they're a selling technician, how many times, if they do present options, are they closing the job and getting the sale? Excuse me. Low rate of callbacks. So I certainly don't want to keep one of my guys extremely busy, or gals extremely busy during the slow season, when every other time they go to a call, it creates a callback. So I'm going to pay attention to that before I send. The whole point here is just send the right person to the calls. Who turns calls into estimates on old equipment when it makes sense? I'm not saying to do anything unethical, but if it's a 27-year-old unit and it's $700 repair, they might want to consider the possibility of new equipment. And who is good at communicating that effectively to my customers? That's who I want to send on these calls whenever it slows down. It becomes critically important during slower periods. But the bottom line is, the person answering the phone is an absolute crucial player on your team. If you're anything like me, I can about promise you there's way more missed opportunities than you realize just on the phones. So training, role-playing, scripts, I highly recommend. Regular evaluation, sit in on a call if it's not you taking the call. If it is you taking the call, well, let's get better at it. Let's follow a certain process, and not just do it, all the time. We have different processes that happen throughout our business, and it's just like tribal knowledge. Like, everybody knows this is how we do it. And that is not a process. So when you grow and you start adding people, they may not have the tribal knowledge that the people who have been with you for a while have. And so we want the process to stay the same throughout our entire business. So we need to write a process for it and then role play it. And scripts are a great way to do that. Regular evaluation. So listen to the calls. Each call is precious to your business. We need to start treating it that way. You absolutely have to start treating it that way. And I highly recommend setting a KPI for book calls. Some of the top companies in the nation, they're 95% or better booking rate on what they would call like opportunity calls that are actually people looking for your service. If it's somebody, just a sales call that we get throughout the day, those don't count against anybody's KPI. It's strictly the calls that are people looking for your service. And if we're not paying attention to that, chances are there's a lot of them that are getting past you, just because we've always handled it a certain way, and that way might not be the best way. So running calls, of course, take off the blinders. I've said this probably 1,000 times if you've seen any of my YouTube channel stuff, but we got to take off the blinders. We got to offer options and then let the customer decide. I recommend checklists. This is something that we just implemented, actually, just a checklist on every service call. To completely go through the system. I always just left that up to the technician's experience to be able to offer the right options. Well, now I just made it a checklist. So then they're going to go through the checklist and they're going to rate everything, if it's okay or it needs attention or it's a really a problem. They rate everything like that. And if it is a problem, well, that's going to be one of the options. If it needs attention, it's going to be one of the options. So I'm not going to go deep into that, but maintenance agreement on every call, you can't sell what you don't tell. You've got to offer it every single time. And as you grow and you add more people, it's hard to make sure that this stuff is happening every time. And that's why we have to have certain processes in place to make sure that it does. Set a KPI. And this is really up to you. This is what's kind of fun about being a business owner, is that it's whatever you want. If you want, say 5 out of 10, every 5 out of 10 that I go to, I'm selling a maintenance agreement. Like, you determine that number and then try to improve on it, try to hit it, and then try to improve on it. And then you can set KPIs for your team as well. So other services, if you offer other services, like we do plumbing and we do duct cleaning. And so those are the 2 services we currently added to our HVAC. And we make sure to just have that quick discussion every time, so the customer knows if they need something in the future, we can help them with that. The bottom line is there's this divide, and I because you guys are on here watching this, and I know you're learners. And once again, I acknowledge you for being on here, because it's the things like this, even if you just take one nugget away tonight from something that I said, it can change your business drastically. So, but there is this divide, and it's the reason businesses exist. It's if you go out to a customer's house and you find a dirty flame sensor, the act of cleaning the flame sensor is not what you're charging for. You're charging for the fact that you knew it was the flame sensor. So if I go out and clean a flame sensor and I charge $300, the customer might be mad. But if I slow down and go through, evaluate the entire system and not just look at that one piece to get the furnace up and running as quickly as I can, then there's way more value in that. So once the value gets higher than the price, then they don't mind paying what they need to pay or what your company needs to earn. So, and this divide is with any business. Somebody has something that I want or knows something that I don't know, and I'm going to pay them to get what I need. And it's the same with our businesses. And if there's one thing that I can tell you is when it comes to prices, is, for one thing, up to 50% of our time is unbillable. So I want to challenge you guys and anyone watching this to add a percentage to your very next installation quote. I'm not going to tell you how much to add. You decide, whatever you're comfortable with. Or your service call. Service call is a smaller ticket, so I would add more. I might do 10%, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. I just want you to add something to it. Just challenge yourself on this. Add 2% to the next install quote. Add 10% to your next service call, and see what happens. It's going to blow your mind. You're not going to get any feedback. They're going to happily, if you provided a great service and you exceeded in value above the price, it ain't going to matter. They're going to love you to death. They'll give you a great review, and you're going to make more money. So post your results, share it in Pete's Facebook page and show us how it went. But I definitely challenge you to do that. When you're on the call, strategies and tips. So I'm going to show you, well, I'll just run through this real quick and then I'll show you. I've got my stuff here. So referral cards and referral certificates, gift cards for future purchases, business card, absolutely, yard signs, stickers, door hangers, asking for the review. Every single week, we get multiple calls a week saying, people saying, well, I decided to call you guys because I saw your reviews. And we're not like smashing reviews. Some of you guys may have more reviews than me, but I'm doing well in my market. Like my competition, there might only be one other person that's even close to where we're at. And we're only like 200 because we got a late start. I didn't take this stuff seriously, and I should have been focused on this for 10 years. I should have been focused on this, and I wasn't. Start focusing on it now, because every single day we get a call, someone saying, well, I saw your reviews, that's why I went with you. And the people who find you with reviews, I'll tell you, once they do business with you, they are far more I'd say 10 times more likely to go on there and leave a review themselves. So those are the type of customers you want. USP, what can you do? Your unique selling proposition. What can you do on your call that no one else does? So I kicked this around for years, and I let it, the complexity, or it just, because I thought it had to be something complex, I just let it stop me from doing anything on my service calls. Of course, I've got lists of ways to go above and beyond while you're there, but I'm talking about just doing something just different than what other people are doing. So I heard about a company, and it might even be a heating and air company, but it's ran by a woman, and their vans are pink, and every single service call they give a rose to the customer. Every single service call. Well, that is a unique selling proposition. It just makes them different, and it probably puts a smile on their customers' faces. So what we did for years, I overcomplicated, and I'm like, I want to do something. I'm going to do it as quick, whatever I need to do. I'm going to do something different. So I just bought these little bags. They're like little bags that you get from the pharmacy, and I just bought them on 4 imprint. And I had them logoed. There's our logo with our tagline. And then inside of it, we put just a handful of candy, nothing fancy, a handful of candy, our gift. Let's see, this is our referral card. So it's just plastic, real thin plastic. The company, they put their name on the back of it. They give it to one of their friends, family, coworkers, whatever, neighbor. If they spend $200 with this, we'll send, and they give this card to us, we'll send $50 to the person who referred us. Then we just have a $25 gift card. And a lot of these strategies, guys, I just learned from going to, I learned these from different companies that I've paid money. This is what they're doing.
Hey, Kelley.
Yeah.
Hey, Kelley, can I interject a real quick thought?
Yeah.
Give you a breather too. Hey guys, I was watching this thing on Zig Ziglar. You guys remember him? And I want to, because Kelley breezed through this pretty quick on your unique selling proposition and how he couldn't really figure out how to do it. So he put it off until he could get it perfect. And I think we're all that way. And Zig said, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you learn to do it well. So just do something, whatever makes sense. If you can't afford to go have bags printed with your logo yet, do what you got to do and just come up with something, right? And maybe spin off some of these ideas, but get each of these processes started as best you can based on your budget, and then revisit them and continue to improve them as you go. I just wanted to interject that, Kelley, because that was a really good point you made.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I was frozen for too long to do something unique that nobody else does. And I know nobody's doing this. And it's just a simple, kind gesture. So, of course, yard signs, nothing super fancy, but we do, we tag those in our software. And at the end of the month, after we put them up, we do a drawing. So we put the names in the hat of anyone who allowed us to put and we give them, $15 off for letting us put a yard sign in their yard, because that's money that I could have spent towards marketing that I'm getting for, I'm getting good marketing for $15 basically. So I do a $50 gift card to the technician who put the yard sign up and to the homeowner who allowed us to put the yard sign up. So at the end of each month. So it's just something that I learned at one of the events I went to. I didn't invent any of this stuff, it's just, and that's what we're here for, is just to share and learn from each other. Debriefing. So I do have a debrief list. I don't have it in this presentation, but we're going to ask these questions after every single service call. Referral. Did you give them the referral? Did you give them the candy bag? Did you put stickers on the equipment? Did you do the door hangers? Did you ask for a review? All these things. Even after installation, most of you are fairly familiar with these little packets where we put all of our paperwork in after an install is done. Well, in these packets, they're prepared. They've got a installation quality checklist that the technician goes through and has the homeowner sign. He walks the homeowner through it after he's checked it all off, and then has the homeowner sign, and he brings that back to the office. That's a process that, and they take 3 pictures. That way, because I've got some young guys doing installs, they don't have 20 years experience, but as long as they take pictures, we'll evaluate if they did a good job, or tell them, hey, I need you to, you need to seal around that before you leave. And, that unit's not quite level, or whatever the case, we can go ahead and fix that just through pictures. So, but door hangers, stickers, also emergency tags. I can put these on the main water shutoff, or I can put it on the gas shutoff for the furnace, and I can go and show the customer that, hey, we put these on here so it was visible, so you know how to shut this off in case of an emergency. That's all stuff that costs virtually nothing, that adds a ton of value for the services you're providing. So when it comes to the phones and running calls, if you're interested, you'll do once convenient. If you're committed, you'll do interested for many, many years. I wasn't committed, but when you do commit to this stuff, it will work, and you will start seeing some results. So commit to improving your phone process and your service call process, and I promise you, the phones, the results will show up. So getting the phone to ring, fun. This search kind of ignored this one, but because I found that this was an outdated thing, and I don't know PowerPoint well enough, I couldn't get that off there. But anyhow, because this is like the second presentation I've ever built, but 5.6 billion searches per day on Google. That is where people are going to find anything they need, is Google. So what we've used is Google Guaranteed or Google Home Services. I can't recommend that enough if you're not currently on that. In your area, in my area, the leads only cost about $23 a call. So every time that phone rings is $23. That's why it's important that, and that's cheap. But it's important that we book that call anytime possible. I used a company called Search Kings to do that. They're a Canadian company, but they've been great to work with. And they actually set me up on Google Guaranteed and Google Home Services for free. It didn't cost me anything. I don't know if that was something through my supplier, or if it was just something they do to try to get you, to go ahead and do Google AdWords with them. And I resisted for a long time with Google AdWords because in my area, I was told a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and then I was told here again recently before I went ahead and signed up that it's going to cost me $3,000 a month just to compete for the top search words in my area. I was told by 2 reputable companies that. And I trust these guys because one of them is Wit Digital. If you're familiar with Stephen Christopher, some of you, if you follow other people and stuff, you might see him in there. But he's a really good guy, and I totally trust him. But I couldn't commit to that amount of money. I felt like it was, and I'm glad I didn't, because we didn't have our phone processes down. We didn't have our service call processes down, and I would have lost. I flat out would have lost. So I use Search Kings for them. They give you a dashboard. You can listen to those calls, rate them. You can also put the dollar amount if you actually booked the call and you went and collected money on them, so you can actually see your return on investment for the money that you're spending with them. And because they can combine those 2 dashboards for you, the Google Guaranteed and the Google AdWords. And I'm not promoting them in any way. That's just who I use, and it's worked for me. So Google reviews, I already talked about that, how important they are. You got to ask for them every single time. I would suggest automating that, where it automatically sends them a text message after the call, or sends them email. So we use House Call Pro for our dispatch software, and I've got it set up to where they're getting an email for as soon as we close the call out, and Service Titan or whoever you're using for your invoicing software, they'll all do this. They'll either send it like a text message. So as soon as we close the job, it sends a text message asking for the review with a link, a direct link that takes them straight to it. Or, and after that, for 3 more days after that, they're getting emails from me asking for a review. And, we're offering them something too. We're giving them, hey, here's the link to our $50 coupon to use on our next visit. But if you haven't left us a review yet, please do so. Anyhow, pre-roll on YouTube, that's just like anytime you go on YouTube and there's a 5-second video before you can skip past it, that's pre-roll. And sometimes if you're ever interested in those, you sit there and watch the whole thing. Well, your marketing company can target the people that you want to see that in your area. If you have any type of digital content that you can share. Website, of course. I know you guys. I'm sure you guys have websites because you're on here and you're learners. Direct mail. Direct mail I've had really good luck with. I'm just scratching the surface on all of this. You guys, I could talk more in depth later if you have any questions, but the phone book, I've not been in the phone book for like 8 years, and it hasn't affected my business at all. And I know in some areas, the phone book is still important. In my area, I don't feel that it is. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing out on a bunch of business, but I don't believe so. So, charity and donations. Here's something that every winter we try to do something nice for a family in need. So we would like go change out a furnace for 100% free. Or we would, one particular guy, I bought him one of those infrared heaters because he was scared to get the bill. Like he's like, you know, if you give me this furnace, I'm not going to be able to afford my bill. But here's what I'd like to have because I know what it's going to cost me energy wise. So I just went and bought it for him. So we do nice things like this, or we donate money, or we donate the locals to the, or you know, we sponsor the local soccer team or whatever, and we just do it quietly. And I've always done it quietly too. But the fact of the matter is that people like to do business with socially responsible companies. So when you do donate and you do give to charity, you need to make that public and show people. It's not about bragging. It's just showing that you're trying to do the right thing within your business. So don't be afraid to post that stuff on your Facebook page or Instagram or whatever. Let it be known that you're trying to help society out with your business. You can run contests. I've had a lot of exposure just running some contests, like we did firework giveaways and Easter basket giveaways, whatever you want to on Facebook. It's really easy to do. Radio, I've done lots of radio. Can't say that it directly makes the phone ring, but it's exposure, and it helps people remember you. Top of mind awareness. Billboard, I've had a billboard, but I am canceling it this year. I'm not renewing. I learned about billboards years ago when I read J. Conrad Levinson's book, Guerrilla Marketing. He says that if your billboard doesn't say turn left or next stop, that it's strictly just a branding thing. You know, no one's going to call your number the majority of the time just from seeing you on a billboard. So, and with the cost of billboards, I would just really think that through before I did it. But I know it works for some people. HomeAdvisors, Angie's listening. Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
Sorry about that. No, I was just thinking about if one of the biggest things that does work for large media like that is something that grabs and holds the attention. Many of you have heard this, I'm sure, but down in South Florida, right off the main interstate, there was a company, and they put the billboard up. You know, a little controversial. Your wife is hot, and you better call our AC company, right? And there was another contractor. He came up with a spinoff, and he had a reply. Your wife is still hot. You should have called, our company. And so, but I remember, I think Frymeyer out of Dallas, Texas started that years ago, but, Air Around the Clock was a company down in Fort Lauderdale, and they claimed that they started. I don't know who started it, but stuff like that, when it creates a buzz, your name starts to rise up in top of mind. Also, radio, you went by. I don't think I had a whole lot of success with radio in the 90s, and so I abandoned it. But I was listening to Louis Bruno. Many of you guys know him over there, over on the west coast of Florida. He's got a very successful operation, and he is big on radio, but he's got a big budget, right? So a lot of Kelley, you referred to guerrilla marketing. That guerrilla marketing is all these really cool marketing ideas that nobody's really thinking about, and it doesn't cost you a lot of money. So things like that is, just depending on where you are in your growth, at what level you are. You just have to use this, more than what's in your wallet. But if you do some of these things, try to be creative, try to create a buzz, and try to stand out, and just again, disrupt the market. I love that from our buddy over in the on the wrap company. But sorry to interject there.
No
Keep
problem.
going.
So HomeAdvisor, I even did a YouTube video, and if anybody follows me, like I was just kind of bashing HomeAdvisor because the lead, they sent me a lead, and it was flat out a bogus lead, without question. I took the email that was given. I tried to just personally send an email to that person. It immediately kicked back and said, "This is not a valid email," and yet they want to charge me for this. So I was upset over that, but I know a lot of people are having success with this, and the reality is I wish that these places didn't exist. I wish that there was no Angie's List. I wish there was no Yelp. I wish there was no HomeAdvisor, because they're middlemen. They're flat out middlemen, and we all realize this and understand it. But the thing is that they're better at marketing than we are. And that's why they get people to use their stuff instead of just going directly to our websites, because they're doing a better job at marketing their product. So HomeAdvisor, what's worked for me is I only turn repairs on. Repairs are far less money. So it's $17 to $27 for a repair call. And you're going to get, you take the good with the bad. Flat out, you take the good with the bad, and you respond as quickly as possible. So it helps to have somebody who's dedicated to answering that phone, because you're typically competing with maybe 3 other contractors. Every time that lead goes out, and some of them are real leads, and you're competing with other contractors. So the faster you can get that call and call them back, the more chance that you'll have to actually speak with somebody. Also, I upped my budget. So my budget on HomeAdvisor, I've got it set up to $10,000 a month. And $10,000 a month, there's no way I'm going to spend that. And it scared me to even do that. But they don't even come close. They don't even come close to that budget. But it ranks me higher. I was taught this by a guy named Mitch Kinney, who has been in some of the groups and stuff posting a while back. But I'm kind of friends with Mitch, and he knows quite a bit about just marketing in general and AdWords and stuff. But he advised me to do that, to just bump that up. So I did, and I get more calls because of it. So don't be afraid to do that if you decide to go with HomeAdvisor. It's not very expensive to go with them. As long as you're good at the phones and you're good at converting, you won't have a problem. Pay per call, that's a lot. It's kind of the same as the Google AdWords. They created a bunch of microsites for each of the areas that I service. So it makes it relevant. If there's a little town called Towanda next to me, well, somebody in Towanda searches, AC repair Towanda, then I may come up as one of the top people because I have a site that has Towanda throughout it, making it relevant to anybody searching for that service in Towanda. And I'm not the expert at this stuff, guys. This is just what I've learned and what I know. Home shows. We've done, this is our 4th home show this year. It always happens in February, which is a great time for us to do the home show. We get a bunch of leads. They're not great leads. Absolutely not. We will actually get a book we may collect 60 to 100 names, emails, phone numbers, addresses. Out of those people, let's say 35 want a service from us, or are looking for a service or looking for bids. Well, out of those 35, I may only get a hold of about 20% of those. So whatever 20% of 35 is, give you a rough estimate. And then from that, I'm probably only going to close 20% after that. So it's a very small number, but it might be 7 more jobs that I wouldn't have gotten without doing the home show. So to me, it's been worth it just for the exposure that we get, and it's fun. We have a lot of fun with it, and the guys have fun. We get to meet people, and you really have to be outgoing. You just got to grab people and bring them into your booth, But here's our AdWords results for July. And this also includes my Google local services. So we had 75 conversions. That just means it's 75 phone calls, I believe. And basically it cost me $34.64. It actually cost me about $100 more, because when I came up with these, when I took this screenshot here, I still hadn't listened to 12 calls. So there was 12 calls that I didn't know how much we made off of. So this is the total. After the 12 calls were listened to and added up, we made $16,401 in gross revenue. We spent $34.64. I'm happy with it. I can't tell you the actual net that we made off of it once you take all our cost of the sale out of everything, but it's got to be okay at this price. And this is where I need to dig further in this, constant never-ending improvement for me. HomeAdvisor results. In July, we spent $2,047, and the total revenue we brought in was $19,472. So it is possible to make money off of these platforms. But here's ultimately what it comes down to. You can get in there and spend 80 hours learning how to do your own AdWords and managing your own account. But that stuff doesn't excite me. I'm not passionate about that stuff. So I would find a professional that plays at the stuff that you find difficult or you don't have time for. And here's a lesson real quick, guys, is that because this would always stop me from doing new things. Every time something new came up, I'm like, oh man, I want to do that. I gotta do that. I gotta get back to the office and work on this. I mean, this is really common for me. I'd say, man, I got to do this. And I'd get back and I'd just get into a frenzy of like figuring this stuff out all on my own. And then I would figure that out and get it implemented. Then there's something else came up. I'm like, oh, Jiminy, look at the results this guy's getting. We got to do this. And I would always say, okay, well, I got to get this done. It was always me, always taking ownership of it. And so instead of thinking about, how am I going to get this done? Swap two of those letters and think who can get this done for me. If you start really taking that in your business and using that every time you want something new done in your business, stop taking ownership of it. Give it to somebody else to do, or find a professional that does it for you. It'll save you so much time, energy, frustration, and in the end, money. So find somebody. And I just wanted to say it takes all pieces of this stuff. Just like I said, you can go out and spend $100,000 next month just on marketing. But if you can't convert on the phone, if you can't handle the call volume, if you can't convert once you get out on the call, if you can't handle the number of installations that will come from the sales that happen, like all of it takes all pieces for the puzzle to fit together and for it to work. Invoice review. We break down every service and installation invoice to find out if we're making money or not. I'm not going to go through that with you, but I want to know what's my gross profit margin on every job. Manage each invoice that is completed. So on our dispatch software, we're going in there and looking at every single invoice. For a long time, we didn't do this. But what happens, this goes back to making sure you're sending the right technician to the right calls, is if I got a guy that keeps waiving the diagnostic fee all the time, for one, there's a coaching opportunity, a training opportunity for me to get that stopped. We can't just waive the diagnostic fee for no reason every time just because the technician wants to be buddies with the customer. I mean, we love all of our customers. We're buddies with all of our customers, but we can't waive the diagnostic fee and not collect that every job. So train, coach, and lead them when you find things happening by invoice review. To keep a handle on what's happening out there. If needed, do call-by-call management. We also did this when we first implemented option sheets. I would have the technician take pictures, and I would say, take pictures, evaluate whatever you know what to look at, evaluate everything, walk out to the vehicle, give me a call. We're going to build option sheets. And I would sit here at the office with these pictures and build option sheets with him. And then I would even practice role-playing, like, here's what you're going to say, to present those options. I would use stuff that I learned from Joe Crisera on that stuff. I call this keeping Mary comfortable option. or Mary gets a good night's sleep option, personalize it. So we did that for a while until they got used to doing options and presenting options. So if that's what it takes, sometimes, it's a pain. It's not fun to do. It's a pain, but sometimes that's what it takes to get the ball moving in the right direction. And once they get good, well, then they can take over the training for your next guy. So dispatch every single call. We may do an installation today, have a call back tomorrow, and we would not dispatch that. We would just run out there, even with our installation checklist. Things get missed once in a while. So that's what we would do. We would not dispatch it. Stop doing that. Make sure you dispatch every single call so you get a real clear picture of what's happening, how many zero invoices are actually happening within your company. And just focus on constant never-ending improvement, always. So also review expenses. Eliminate expenses that are not necessary. Evaluate every single thing that your company spends money on and try to reduce it. Be proactive when it comes to this stuff, especially as you're going into a shoulder season or a slower season. Be proactive with this stuff. Make sure you got your expenses under control. And if there's something you're paying for that you're not utilizing, get rid of it. And it's easy. After years in business, guys, this stuff piles up. And I'll give you one more tip. If there's something that you've been questioning, whether it was worth it or not, or whatever you're paying for it, sometimes going and calling those people to cancel, they'll immediately knock the price down by half to keep you. And so that's happened to me several times where I'm like, I don't want to pay for this anymore. And I call them and I'm like, I'm canceling. Okay, Mr. McKay. Well, I tell you what, you're built up on there and the website's been there a long time. So what if we cut it down to $350 instead of $750 or whatever it is? They would instantly cut it just by making a phone call. So don't be afraid to make phone calls to get that price reduced on whatever it is you're paying for. And then manage labor. Certain overhead expenses we can't control. We can't control the rent, our utilities, our phones, our internet. We can't control that, but labor is something we can control. So make sure that the guys are being productive when they are working. And when you have to, constantly during the summer, we're saying, save money, save money. Anytime you work overtime, put it back, put it back. That way, when we slow down, it's not a big deal. And they enjoy the time off usually. My guys enjoy the time off when it slows down. So follow up, I think basically is just follow up. I meant, follow up on your past customers all the time, checking in with them. Do follow up on service calls that you've done and that's kind of out of place here. So ignore that. So high profile contractor. Vehicles. I actually went through this with Mike Agliero. He runs a group and I was in that group and he helped me through picking a new brand. I was the same brand since 2008 all the way till 2018. The very end of 2018, we switched names and we switched brands. And in my little town, my name was recognized and my brand was recognized. So this was a really scary thing to do. But we went about it real strategically. First, we went and took pictures of all the different vehicles in my area, and we put them on this big poster board, and we put our vehicle right in the middle, and we surrounded it with all these different vehicles to see what colors are actually being represented in our area. And we're looking for the missing colors because that's something that's going to stand out. It's new. And so that's what we came up with, basically the orange and black. It really doesn't exist in my area. There just wasn't any other businesses utilizing that color. What that did was I started hearing all the time, God, I see you guys all the time. I see you guys everywhere. Well, we don't have that many vehicles. I mean, I've got like 8 vehicles. That's not that many, but we hear all the time, I see you guys all the time. So it's because they notice us when they see us. And that's where I know Pete has some insights on this, and I know he's probably already trained on some of this, but this is just the experience I had in going through this. We went to a logo tournament, And logo tournament, basically you pay some money and tons of different designers from around the world go in, and they're competing for the prize money. And the prize money is for you to pick their design. So it's really cool. Like, yeah, we had literally hundreds of logos to pick from. Now, there's some criteria you went through. I told them my colors. I told them the shape that I wanted. I told them the name, of course. I told them all this stuff, but then they take it from there, and they are just creative with it. So anyhow, literally went through 500, 600, 700 logos to get to the one that I picked. Then we went to 99 Designs, and they do a van wrap competition. So then you got everybody competing for your van wrap. And what I learned with van wraps is, for one thing, is to make sure that when you're driving 70 mile an hour down the highway, that you can read the services you provide. So I know with Service HQ, I had some people tell me, like, well, what do you actually do? Well, it's very clear on our vans. We do heating, cooling, duct cleaning, indoor air quality. And this was before we had plumbing. So, and in the future, I may change it to home service HQ, or service HQ. I don't know. Pete recommended one earlier that we talked about. But in the future, I can do that. I can change this up a little bit, still keep my core design, but change it up in the future. So, but there was an article that I had pinned to my wall, because I tend to pin stuff all over my wall in my office. And it was it was one of the trade magazines, and Terry Nicholson, he's one of my mentors now. And he said, and it wasn't exactly this, but the gist was that when making a large purchasing decision, people will go with the bigger company. And HVAC equipment is a large purchase decision for most people. So, just the appearance, you don't have to be a big company, but the appearance of a big company, they're going to be more likely to go with you, because there's just that peace of mind that you're going to be there to take care of them. I don't know what else it is. It's just psychology. So the more I can pretend to be one of these great big guys, and people see my vans all over the place, the better off you're going to be. Uniforms. I never knew it, but I learned that there's a lot of psychology behind the colors of uniforms, hidden, unconscious stuff that we would never even know about. It automatically triggers different responses from different people as soon as they see a particular color. We went with white with our uniforms with this rebrand. Changed our name, changed our logo, changed our vans, changed our website, changed everything, and then changed our uniforms. And I used to hate the idea of white uniforms, but the reason that some of these big companies like like the 1 Hours and the franchises, right? The reason they're going with white is because there's some amount of respect that you give somebody in a white coat. When the doctor comes in to give you some results from a test, and you're at the hospital, like, you're going to sit there and you're going to pay attention, listen. And there's psychology behind that because of his appearance. So just I'm not going to go through all these, but really think about your colors of your uniforms, and hopefully it matches somewhat with your brand colors, of course. But don't just pick it. If you ever do a rebranding, just be careful with that, and pay attention and do your due diligence and research. Different colors trigger subconscious and deeply rooted emotional responses in how people think, make choices, and feel throughout the day. The psychology of colors often spills over to additionally leave subtle impacts on business and consumer interaction as well. So it's very powerful stuff. So let's talk about on the closing stretch here, which is protecting the number one asset in your company. Guys, the bottom line is the amount of success that you're going to have, and I'm only this much successful. But now we're really more thriving than we've ever been before after 11 years of hard, rocky roads and unknowns and roadblocks being thrown in our way. And it's strictly because we haven't stopped learning and changing. We are constantly adapting, changing, growing, learning. But it also comes from your it comes from your way of thinking along with the actions that you're taking. So as it slows down, I have a real habit of having these automatic negative thoughts that come up. Ants. I start worrying. I'm like, shit, well, pardon my French, but like, I don't know if I'm going to make, there's been times in the past where I was scared I wasn't going to make payroll, or we had a job on Friday and payday was on Monday. We had to collect that money, get the job done, collect that money and get it to the bank so I could make I could make payroll on Monday. Like, we've been through that for years. We went through that. So I think I automatically got into this habit of this scarcity fear mindset. And so it's something I'm continually working on. I'm getting a lot better at it. And it has to do with some disassociation. Like, I'm disassociating myself from the company a little bit. It's not because I don't love my company. It's not because I don't love the people in my company, but it's because I need to take care of myself. And me having these automatic negative thoughts and being worried all the time and stressed is not healthy. And these thoughts don't serve me in any way, shape, or form. So you get what you expect. So
hey, Kelley, what
strategies
do you have to keep your spirits up and be thinking positive? Everybody comes to Kelley. Hey, boss. Where does Kelley go? What do you do?
Well, what do you mean? Where do I go? I mean, just to keep if somebody's coming.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
no, you're fine.
A lot of the times when everything is sitting on your shoulders, it can build that pressure, because we're only human, right? And so
Sure.
that's why a lot of times we'll go to these these events, and we'll hear these motivational speakers within the industry, without the industry, doesn't matter. It gets us all pumped up and fired up, and it's really exciting because we're being led emotionally. But when when all the music stops and we're back in our business and we're back to the the day in, day out operation, a lot of times we need a little pickup too. And that's what we did is we had groups, and we had meetings, we had mentors, we had coaches, we had all these different things that kind of help us too, from an emotional standpoint. But I mentioned old Zig Ziglar. There was another one. He said, it's not if, but when the rough times come, it's how you deal with them that gets you through. So if you enter into your daily, interaction or your process and everything else, throughout the year, knowing that, we're going to have some tough times. They're going to cancel the last job, and how in the heck am I going to make payroll or tax deposit or whatever? those are going to come. So when it does come, instead of saying, oh my God, it's the end of the world, there it is. I was expecting this, and it moved past it. But the point is, I love your stuff so far. But the point is that, no man is an island, all these expressions, take care of yourself as well, not just monetarily, but also, support wise,
Yes,
that was my thought.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm fortunate at this point because I've worked really, really hard in my business that, like, I've got a management team, so it's not that I don't pay attention to what's going on and watch them, but if sometimes it's best for me to just get out of this environment. I sit in this chair and work on this computer, as a choice. I was in the field for 22 years, and I'm sure some of you guys have been in the field longer than that, but I didn't want it anymore. I've worked late nights my whole entire career, on call my whole entire career. And if it came down to I had to change, and I just wouldn't accept no for an answer. I started thinking, I had people that I'm paying lots of money to help me manage the company. It's like, well, if I'm paying this money and I'm paying these technicians all this money to do their job, like, why do I feel like I need my hand on every single thing in the business? So that was the first thing. It's just being able to step away from the business, that it can totally just refresh you. So when it comes to any tough time, I try to spend more time away from the business, to be honest. I know it sounds weird, but and it's not like I just disappear, but I just leave the office for the afternoon because it's not going to do me any good to sit here and worry about what's happening. But if I get out and move and exercise, and it all helps. I also have a coach. I'm a coach. I'm a certified high performance coach, and then I have a coach who's also a high performance coach who coaches me once a week, and it's just revolving. We have 12 lessons, and it just goes deeper and deeper each time. So we're on the third round. I've been doing it since the first of the year. And the first of the year, we went through, it wasn't easy. I had overstaffed myself intentionally because I wanted to just crush this summer. So I knew that cash would start getting tight with the whole plan of crushing it this summer. And it's pretty much worked. But it was stressful going through like March and April. It was stressful. So having a coach helps tremendously. But focusing on, the bottom line is you get what you expect. So you got to start expecting good things to happen. Then I know Pete's talked about your reticular activating system. It filters and prioritizes sensory information to let the mind be focused and alert. So you got to make success a priority. Whatever you're looking for, you'll find. If you're looking for success, you'll get more success. So stay positive by feeding your mind with the good stuff. I don't watch the news. I don't need any more outside influences to try to get me down. And I feel like that's all our news does. It's scare tactics. And I haven't watched the news for probably 15 years. And then just reprogramming my mind by just my automatic self-talk. What am I saying to myself to keep myself from going down those rabbit holes? The conscious mind's the goal setter. The unconscious mind's the goal getter. So once you consciously think about what it is you do want in your business, then your subconscious goes to work to try to get whatever it is what you want. But if you don't know how to communicate what you want properly, then you're going to keep bringing up steaming bowls of out of the kitchen. So basically, you're going to keep falling into a rabbit hole. So if you guys have not read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, go read that. That's one of the greatest books of all time. It stands the test of time. Absolutely love that book. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So if you believe that there's no good people out there, guess what? You get what you expect. You're going to find that there's no good people. If you believe that all customers are cheap and don't appreciate quality and value, that's what you're going to find. If you believe that you can't turn your company around or get through a tough time, then you might not be able to make it. If you believe that you're not good enough or smart enough, then I promise you, your belief will always prove to you that you're right, no matter what. So you got to choose your beliefs wisely. Another great book by Don Miguel Ruiz is The Four Agreements. If you've not read that book, it like blew my mind. It's so practical with your word. Your words will create your reality. So be careful of what you're talking about and what you're saying. Don't take anything personally. When a customer doesn't call you back after you give them a bid, I got another one for here is don't make assumptions. But don't take anything personally. If a coworker is not happy with you today for some reason, don't take it personally. There's something going on in their life probably that they just don't want to talk about. So stop taking things personally. Don't make assumptions. One of the biggest assumptions is that if we go give a bid and they're getting more bids and we don't hear back from them, they probably went with somebody else. Well, we've also found that there's been times where they didn't do anything at all. So stop assuming. It does no good to worry and assume. And always do your best, of course. Art Williams says something like, what does he say? That all you can do is all you can do. And as long as you're doing all you can do, then that's all you can do, right? I mean, it's like you do all you can do, then you've done it all. So take care of yourself. We are shallow breathers. We do not breathe into our stomach to breathe, just breathe. That can instantly change your state and help you relax. Some of these, we had a couple of things happen just earlier this year, little minor fender bender, a water leak over a ceiling. I mean, whatever it may be, instantly, like, I got anxious, worried, and instantly I felt this pit in my stomach. Like I could feel my brain making these chemicals, and then my body, like, have you ever felt like you've been kicked in the stomach when you got bad news? That happens, and you cannot control that. It's an automatic response by your body. But once you realize and recognize what just happened, that's when you can turn it around and change it. And oftentimes just taking some deep breaths will always help you relax. Take time off. Every year, at least in my area, when it comes down to the end of August, first part of September, we get a couple of weeks where it's just dead. Get away and take some time off during that time before it's time to go full blast into furnace season. Don't forget why you work so hard. For many, many years, I ignored my family. Absolutely ignored my family because that's what I was working for. I was working hard for them. And I had just forgotten why I was working so hard. So don't ignore your family. Like, spend time with them. When you're home, be present. Here's something that took me forever to learn. And I don't want you to be as hard-headed as I was when it comes to learning this. You will never, ever be caught up. There is always something else to do, to build, to make, to sell in your business. Always. You'll never get caught up. So just accept it and be okay with it. Come to peace with it. Welcome changing your business. You've got to be constantly changing. This is the biggest thing that holds business owners back, is they just don't want to change. And it's just sad to watch somebody who's been in business for 15 years and it just basically, the company dissolves and there's nothing there. I hope that you'll want to create something, and that's okay if it provided you a great life. It's to each his own. It's whatever makes you happy, whatever your end goal is. But most of the time, that's not the business owner's end goal. So change the stuff you need to in your business so it can be worth something when you exit someday, or give it to a family member. You have time to do it all. Stop thinking it all has to be done this week. Anything, if you're going to implement anything that you've learned through any of these trainings that Pete's helped put on, and training that he's done himself, you have time to do it. Never stop learning. Invest in your education. That's why you're here and you're staying with me till the end here. I greatly appreciate it. Relax. This is a big one. So I always carry a ton of tension on my shoulders, and I think most of us do this. And whenever we think about, like, we work hard, we study hard, business is hard, life is hard. Like, it doesn't have to be hard. We don't have to. It's hard because we make it hard. So stop making it hard. And it's really just a thought and changing your mindset. But just relax. Let your shoulders just drop and take a deep breath. And start consciously doing that as you're driving down the road. Stop holding all this tension that's giving you headaches in the morning or making you feel like crap and taking all your energy away. You need a lot of energy to run a business. So stop wasting it in all this tension you're holding. If you guys are interested in more, we're starting a group. Me and my coach are starting a group called The Amplified Life in the Facebook, and we're going to focus on clarity, energy, courage, persuasion, productivity, all of these things to help get people to the next level. This is where I ultimately ended up in my business journey, as I ended up realizing that, man, I didn't have clarity. Man, I don't have enough energy. I didn't have enough courage. I couldn't influence my team. Like, I didn't understand these things. So I actually went and paid a lot of money to go learn how to coach so I could learn it myself, so I could bring it back and coach my team and get better, just to improve. So if that's something that's you're interested in, is leveling one of those portions up in your life, please like our page, The Amplified Life on Facebook. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, HVAC Millionaire, or check out my courses. I've got a business membership plan, a technician membership plan, or a combined membership plan. And if you have some new guys that you've hired, and you want to put them through some training, that's another thing. Invest in your people. Constantly be giving them training, because if they're not growing, they will leave you. And I've made that mistake. I did for many years. You've got to keep growing your team. So any type of training you can give them, whether it's Pete's or mine's or Joe's or whoever you find, keep investing in them, and so they can level up themselves. Because when you help them level up, they're going to help you level up. Also, I'm the co-host of a podcast called HVAC Uncensored with my buddy Gil Cavey. He's out of the Baltimore, Maryland area, which has been a lot of fun. We just get on there and talk about HVAC. So, and we actually have Tommy Mello this week as our guest Wednesday night. So it won't air till next Monday. But I'm excited to talk to Tommy because I've never met him before. So. But anyhow, guys, that's all I've got. I am so grateful for you guys staying on here. I hope that I served you tonight. I hope you learned something or took a piece of advice, or if you have any more questions, I'll do my best to answer them. I just greatly appreciate you guys being on here.
Great job, Kelley. Hey, and as promised, we did go over. He let me know ahead of time. He had a lot of information to cover. Let's get some questions in before we end this. But we'll try to end the recording here in about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we can stick around for personal questions afterwards. But
Sure.
What questions might somebody have for Kelley that would benefit the recording, for the benefit of those who are going to be watching this afterwards? Anybody? Comments are fine.
I don't know if I can see the comments.
I can. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Everybody good? Well, everybody stuck around, so you were keeping some good attention. Go ahead, Eric. You got something?
I just wanted to say, boom, you did good, man. Good presentation.
Thanks, man.
I liked it. Yeah. So.
Eric's been following me a long time, man. So I really appreciate him. He's always a positive guy, and I want to help him. So if there's anything I can do for you, man, you just never hesitate to reach out for me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. Awesome presentation.
Hey, Kelley.
Okay, guys. Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Kelley, as soon as I finish here, we can stop recording. You have to do it on your end. Listen, guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Somebody has something else.
Hey, Kelley, I got one question for you.
Sure.
I noticed early in your presentation you were talking about KPIs a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big KPI person, both with my own business and with my clients. Just your personal opinion. I got my opinion, but I wanted to get your input on it. When do you think you start to KPI your company and your people to death?
I think that, I think what I would recommend, and really what we do, is we pick like 4 to 5. I think those are our primary ones that we watch. And the guys are aware of it, and it just gives us an opportunity to coach them if need be, or have a conversation if need be. Excuse me. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, I've got literally hundreds more things that I would love to track. And I'm not a numbers guy. I hate the numbers and stuff. I just know how critical some of that data is to the business and making decisions. So I'm slowly implementing more of that. But it's fairly minor stuff, like just going through the checklist and, when we book calls, for instance, we have to ask certain questions. So we make sure that we send the right technician to the right call. And I have to make sure that people are doing that. So, we're looking at the dispatch, so how many times is the right technician being dispatched to the right call? We need to know that. That directly will impact how much revenue we produce and ultimately how successful we are. So there's certain things that, yes, that we do track, but there's more things that I want to implement that and it's gone both ways, Dennis. To be honest, like we at one time we were tracking like 8 things, and we're like, okay, this is out of control. This is too many. So I think 4 or 5 primary things on the technician side.
Okay, we're on the same page. That's about what I was thinking, because I've gotten overboard big time too, because I am a numbers guy, so I want to track everything on the planet. But
right.
Yeah, I think I've cycled back to that 3, 4, maybe 5 or something. So, all right, great. Thanks for the input.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the question.
Awesome. Thanks, Dennis. Anybody else? So we're good. Okay, so we're going to end a recording right here in just a second. Hey, guys, for those of you watching the recording, thank you so much for joining in. If you get this in time, you'll want to send an email to me, HVAC Greatness, and I use Gmail, so just HVAC Greatness at gmail.com, and I'll make sure that you get Kelley's free gifts, Dennis's free gifts, Nick's free gifts, Joe's free gifts, and I'm missing somebody, Sam's free gifts, and my own. So we're going to make sure that you get some extra little strategy and tools and things that you can implement in your business right away, and hopefully above and beyond the tools that you've learned in this, what's going to be over 10 hours worth of free training on, our compliments. And thank you so much for participating in this. So we'll be looking for you guys tomorrow night, same time on the next live session. We're going to wrap all this up, and we're going to have some nice additional information we're going to give to you as well. So Pete Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. Thank you so much for attending. And we're still recording. Still recording.
Do you want to stop cloud recording? Yes.